Welcome everyone. Organization behavior and human resource management is what we will be discussing around it. Remember, organization behavior is the theoretical aspects of what the practical application would consist of the HRM. So, human OB is the theoretical aspect, HRM is the practical aspect of one of the same thing. So, origin in psychology and OB or probably HRM. Organizational behavior is the study of human behavior in the organizational setting, the interface between human behavior and the organization, and probably the organization itself. OB can be divided into three levels: one, two, and three levels. Let's say that of an individuals in an organization. That's what I say micro level. Then we are talking of groups of work groups, as in what I say is meso level. And organization behave what an overall organization displays, as in macro level how do we react to a position. So yes, into three levels that the OB can be divided: micro, meso, and macro level, individual work groups and organizational behavior. So contributing disciplines are plentiful into the study of OB, but I have listed the major ones, and this list, mind you, is incomplete. For example, the it has borrowed uh, a lot of concepts from the psychology, from social psychology, from sociology, from anthropology, from management, from political science, from economic, from socio-cultural behaviors, as on word-on basis. I have not listed certain subject, let's say cognitive sciences, if I may say so. There are certain hormonal changes that comes around it. So we are looking into a lot of behavioral, biological aspect that may actually impact the way we actually conduct ourselves. But the major disciplines that have been contributing into the OB as a field of study is psychology, social psychology, sociology, anthropology, political science, economics, and socio-cultural behaviors, as the case might be. Let us understand the origins. The origins of psychology for our OB and HRM. There are five main traditions, if I may say so, of which the three has been mentioned in this slide, and probably the next two would be in the next subsequent slide. Psychoanalytic analytics tradition, not a dominant influence, but often explains certain aspects of emotionality in workplace. Why a person shouts, why there is an outburst, why a certain person has a particular demeanor, or why there is a not so very congenial atmosphere in an organization. It is all about the emotionality of the workplace, the consumer motivations, and how people respond to the groups and the leaders. We are talking about trade traditions related to psychometric testing for recruitment, selection, and development. Phenomenological tradition started with the encounter groups, as in Carl Rogers in 1950s, which then evolved into sensitivity training at work. Later evolutions into a total quality management, that is similar approaches, and probably also about self-actualization side from humanistic psychology, relevant to the motivation at work, as the case might be. We are talking about behaviorism tradition, many applications including reward system at work, performance management, behavior modification approaches, and mentoring, generally relevant to appraisals, organizational development, training, and career and personal development. These are the behavioral traditions of people which might motivate them to work in a certain fashion, act in a particular orientation. And the last one is a social cognitive tradition. This may apply into the areas of occupationals, which involve schemes and information processing. So could, for example, be relevant of how much social information in an interview, or help understanding of an organizational culture, as the case might be. Let us understand the work psychology. Remember, here two terms are very important. Work psychology ones, the first term is FMJ, that is fitting man to a job. FMJ, I repeat, fitting man to a job. And the second term is FJM, or fitting the job to the man. So what is the right word to go around it? It's this two component that goes around fitting man to the job or fitting job to the man. Fitting man to the job, FMJ involves career guidance, involves recruitment, selection, appraisal, training, and development. But what happens when fitting job to the man or FJM involves equipment, workplace design, work and job design, man, machine interaction, impact of physical, social, and economic environment on the individual. The origins of FMJ and FJM go back to the job design for the munitions of workers in the World War One Taylorism selection test for the forces of World War Two assessment centers for the Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, the US equivalent of SAS, the Hawthorne experiment, the measurement of intelligence by Spearman, if I may say so, the Spearman ranking correlation method. We have so many of them. For example, the Kendall Tau methods, we have Pearson correlation method. This is what gives us a scientific edge to an understanding of a particular behavioral outcome. Let us understand this works psychology too, as in with the human relations. We are talking about early areas within human relations, include emphasis, and I say strong emphasis on socio-technical system motivation theories in work design. The approach also now includes areas such as organizational structures and cultures, change management and resistance to change, social construction theories, organization theories, different approaches to management and the style thereof. The origin of human relationship approaches go way back to the Hawthorne experiment, even through Maslow's wood-fitted socio-technical terms that comes into existence with cybernetics. We are talking about theories of organizational hierarchies, about culture, the skin and the process consultation, Vroom and Porter's Lawlers and expectancies of utility theories, as the case might be. We have understood the work psychology 1 and 2 as in the WFJ or WGM as the KS camp, fitting man to the job or fitting the job to the man. We come to the sociology wherein it is all about uh, going back to the origin which started from Marxism or Durkheim. There are origin of studies of industrialization, the role of the management, the top core people, the alienation in the assembly line as in the mechanizations of the workers, bureaucracy and the organizational theories and the rank and file movement of an organization. Many books are relevant here, such as the Douglas MacGregor, The Human Side of Enterprise. This is a wonderful book which I would request all the audience of this videos to go through if possible. Erwin Goffman's Psychic Prison is also all about industrializations and the industrial labor that comes around it. David Goldsmith, etc. Ball, a series of books calls about the affluent workers, walkers, guest books, man of assembly line. Joan Woodward's writing on socio-technical system. If you go through their writings, you will have a better understanding, a wonderful grasp on the subjects of workers' alienations toward the work, of workers' affinity towards the work. In the midst of chaos, there is also an opportunity for us to understand. And believe me or not, every time there's a problem, it means there's an opportunity for you to solve and probably come into the limelight. Probably, if there are no problem, there will be no reason for the organizations to hire you in the first place. So if you know the enemy, know yourself. You need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, you but not the enemy. For every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb to in each and every battle. Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without even fighting an inch. In the midst of chaos, there is also an opportunity. Now, these are things that we come to know around it. Engaging people with what they expect. It is what they are able to discern and confirm their projections. It settles them into predictable patterns of responses, occupying their minds while you wait for the extraordinary moment, that which they cannot anticipate. Thus, you may know that there are five essentials for victory. He will win who knows when to fight. When not to fight, he will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. He will win when the army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its rank. He will win who prepare himself, wait and take the enemy unprepared. He will win who has a military capacity and is not interfered by the sovereigns, as on when on basis is what this Sound Loud Art of War book says around it. So let us understand the origin of sociology too. Sociology has resulted in several influences on how we understand, how we dissect organization, one from every perspective. One of them are from the perspective of organizational theories, particularly critical organization theory, which often challenges findings from positivist research. Another influence is in the reflexivity, whereby interventions are evaluated by interventionists. A further major influences has been in terms of how we study industrial relation. Let us see the changing environment of work, how the world of work has changed. There are four areas in the change in the last few decades which I have actually considered. First is the technological changes. It has reduced the demand for labor. In fact, in some of the cases, almost by 90%. In some cases, it has made them redundant. Look at the case where now we are developing driverless cars. That means the job of a driver is already at stake. It has also created new jobs such as those of software development, but the jobs lost and the jobs created are not the same. Absolutely not the same. A driver who is basically driving an Uber is driving it physically, mentally has to be alert. A driverless car again has been operated by a software engineer. Probably he or she is working from a plush environment and may not be taking all that concentration altogether. So see the differences of the world. It is a study by Oxford University can estimate how much of your job will be lost within next 20 years. It is also changed many existing jobs by deskilling some parts, increasing skills in others, changing the composition of tasks, creating greater dependence on computers in many cases. There is also aspects of human machine interactions to be considered, such as ergonomic issues, such which issues that is associated with large amount of time in front of VDUs. VDUs is visual display unit, your monitor. Probably the gentlemen and the ladies who are watching this video on the screen is nothing but a VDU, is a visual display unit. New jobs have included those in the call centers. How much are these new sweatshops of 2000? God knows. And I think they are nothing less than a sweatshop, often with a highly prescribed and a controlled environment. New issues involve homework, how which might include not only computer software issues but also social interactions and group issues. Virtual teams need special consideration, for example, when team members come from different cultures, as the case might be. We are talking about economic changes apart from the technical changes that has come about with the issues of payment, wages, changes in benefits, work harmonizations, performance management, use of contracted and agencies workers full time versus part time, home working process relocations to where jobs are. We have come with a term called WFH, work from home post this pandemic. Now is a term called work from office, WFO, and most of you have also come with the terminology called WFA, that is work from anywhere. Next big change is all about demographic changes. HR planning was important in 1970s, even despite job losses in 1980s. By 1990s, changes in demographics of population were pointing towards the emphasis on the younger recruits, but by the emphasis shifts again, will change yet again in 2010s. As the actual time bomb kicks in, the rights and the roles, there have been changes, a lot of them in the 50 years, moving towards the issues such as equal opportunities, diversity increases in the numbers of women in the labor market, bringing dual career stresses. These look set to continue a major influences on the world of war. There are further changes is happening in the information technology, which will mean a major issues of trust and security, including of cyber security, new norms of an organization. When I say organization, it may be virtual organization, it may be a e-business, it may be a tele-working communities or companies. Changes in the employment legislation will mean organization focused increasingly on the core competence for the core workforce, resulting in lifetime careers, employment securities as a known core competencies are done by agencies and subcontracted workers. The demographic people problems will get worsened in next 25 years as large amount of skills are lost to retirements. Immense amount of people are going to retire and the world is going to get younger a lot, but believe me or not, the world population will also age. But believe me or not, after a century the world population will actually shrink from what it is today. So you will see a lot of companies and government pension schemes to have to continue their investment by short term expenditure, possible rise in retirement ages due to the needs of the employer as well, probably of that individual to earn more money. I would love to raise certain issues in this presentation, whereas in increasing the emphasis on knowledge management, increases the emphasis on performance management. Why? Because people will change multiple jobs in their lifetime. Economic changes as companies increases, refocuses on services, refocuses on knowledge industry, and also, for example, advanced manufacturing, easy generations and new technology. New issues in recruitment and selection will include biodata, conditional reasoning, virtual reality measures, genetic testing, neurological testing, electronic selection methods, and measurements of emotional intelligence. This is what we need to go around it. And before I wind up, I would love my audience to know what are the major things that is impacting HR. One being globalization, two being contingent workers, workers who are there for a shorter span of time, working from home or WFH, management of change or the dynamic environment that it is creeping in, and the diversity in the workplace. People are flocking into the workplace from different background, different races, different cultures, and this needs to be assimilated, and this inclusivity has to be barged in. So we, yes, there are globalization, contingent workers, working from home, management of change, and diversity are the latest HR issue that comes around it. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video once more.